Good morning. All right, why don't you stand up and wake up with us? We're going to sing a few songs together.
Lifting me up from the ground. gonna walk now. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Hey, hey, if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Hey, hey, if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Are you walking? If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Won't you sing about it? If you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Hey, hey, if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I hear the trumpet sound, gonna rise up out of the ground. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. You. Okay, guys, you can have a seat.
Good morning, guys. So my name's Freddie. I'm gonna let you guys know how the service is gonna go. So today we'll be together for about 70 minutes. In that time, the band is gonna play a couple more songs, and there's gonna be some videos up on the screen. As you noticed, when you came through the back, we got some coffee, donuts, coffee. I said coffee twice, right? Okay, I'm still tired. Water and some popcorn in the back. Also, we have our wonderful kids section. If you haven't checked your kids in, at any time you can go check them in. They're going to have a great time back there. We got some wonderful people back there taking care of them. If you don't want to go check them in and you want to have them out here with you, we have what's called family room in the back beside the check-in area. So you can go back there if you need some one-on-one time with your children. And you won't miss anything because we're streaming in the service back there. Speaking of streaming, how's it going, Facebook? Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We're glad that you are with us. Let us know where you're watching from and shout us out. Also, we have a free gift for you guys in the back, a book by Andy Stanley called How Good is Good Enough. If you have some questions about God, Christianity, or the church, it's a nice, easy little read. Grab a few copies. It could answer some of those questions. Hand them out to your friends, family, whoever has some questions about those things. But that's all I got for you guys. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the service.
Jaden?
Who made the mess? You know, Billy did? Come here, I want to talk to you.
Were you throwing stuff over the side? Nice.
It's sugar, you know that, right?
Justin! What are you doing?
Mommy's gonna be very upset. Yeah, you. Look what you guys did.
Allie, what did you do? What did you guys do?
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Why did you let her do that to you?
I didn't see her.
You.
What are you doing? Huh?
Tatum, what happened to you? What were you doing? You don't know? What are you doing?
Playing with the toilet.
What are you doing to Addison?
What did you do with your stickers, Brayden?
Oh, kids. Why don't you stand up? We'll sing some more songs together. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. We all made new. Jesus, when I met you, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing, now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious living in a land of death. The trees burn and gray. There's a smoldering smoke overhead, and the night looks the same as the day. It seems a miracle that I can stand when everyone I know drifts up in the air with the ash. Every time that the wind starts to blow, I feel alive with a life that's not mine. Your lost stream in this wasteland, a lifeline, so much more than precious gold. High promises, my Lord, by them is a servant Lord, keeping them great Wow, you guys sound good. Why don't you have a seat and enjoy the rest of the service?
Thanksgiving is just around the corner. For the sake of accuracy, I decided to take stock of my life to see just how thankful I should be. On the plus side, I have one house, half paid for, 2 cars, both in need of an oil change, 1 greasy push mower, 7 pairs of penny loafers, and about 10,000 pieces of junk. I decided this adds up to mildly to moderately thankful. But then I had to subtract. On the minus side, 1 broken leg, the flu, and 2 seasonal colds already this year, 3 parking tickets, 1 annoying new neighbor, and about 10,000 frustrating traffic encounters. So the piles pretty much canceled each other out. And just when I was thinking how clean and symmetrical it all was, I remembered that I exist, that the being who caused that existence filled it with people for me to love and be loved by. I wasn't sure how this fit in my piles. And then I remembered that same being also loved me. Me. I started getting nervous. My symmetrical calculations were starting to topple into a big pile of irrelevance. I protested. What about my pain? What about my bad days and my broken hearts? And a voice whispered back, you break my heart every day, but I still love you. Love you enough to die for you. Put that in your pile.
Hey guys. Oh, you guys are good this morning. I'm Kate, I'm the Dream Team pastor, and I wanted to personally invite you to an event that's happening next Sunday night. It starts at 6 o'clock and it's called Friendsgiving. This is an opportunity for us to say thank you to all of our volunteers, which that makes up the Dream Team. So everyone that you see in the morning that may be in the parking lot, might be working in the kids area, on the stage, singing, leading worship, things like that, that is our Dream Team. And this is the one time this year that we're going to meet. We are providing a catered meal by Vides. We'll have some games, recognize some people, and it's really going to be a good time. So I encourage you, think about it. Today is kind of the day that we're planning on turning in our numbers. If you wouldn't mind, go to the Stonebrook group. I created an event called Dream Team Friendsgiving. RSVP with how many people, so if it's going to be 2 adults and a child, go ahead, comment there, just so we have a count. I will also be in the studio after service if you want to just give me your count there. But again, think about it and challenge yourself. If you are, if you're currently volunteering, if you had volunteered before, and you may not be active as you were before, we still want you to come. And even if you aren't volunteering and you'd like to get plugged in, we encourage you to come also. Chris, are you coming?
It's going to be fantastic. That microphone was really loud right there. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're going to be there. We've got some live music from a professional musician that's going to be there. We're not going to tell anybody who that is yet, but it's going to be really good. We're really looking forward. We really want everybody to come. So one of our core values at Stonebrook is you can't do life alone. And so show up, have a good time with us, meet some new people. It's going to be a good time. And that's a pretty good way to segue into life groups. So how many of you guys are participating in a life group currently? That is not very many of you. One of the 5 core values, so a fifth of what we believe here at Stonebrook, or value here at Stonebrook, is that you should be involved in a life group. And so we've got several life groups. We're getting ready to wrap up our last semester of life groups in the next few weeks. And then we'll kick off the, I guess it's the spring semester. It starts in the winter time, but it's the spring semester of life groups. We'll start that in January. And there's several things that we want you to know. One, it's never too late. You can, at any time, we have what's called a free market system with our life groups program. So at any time, you can start a life group. If you go to stonebrook.tv/life groups, there's 2 things that you can do there. You can check out all of the life groups that we have going on right now, or you can click on a button that says lead a life group. So if you're going through there, you're perusing, and you're like, man, they're really missing this life group, click the button, Lead Life Group. It'll send me a message, and we'll get you set up and ready to roll. There's also several resources on that page. If you're interested in leading a life group, but you're not quite sure how to do that, you can click on the button there. There's tons of free resources in that link. If you're interested in leading a life group but not sure how to get started, just let us know and we'll take care of you. Eric is here somewhere. Eric, where are you at? He was here this morning. Eric is our life group pastor. He'll be around second service over here for people too, but you can see him or me, and we'll get you hooked up with leading a life group. Another thing that we really love to do to help get connected with you guys a little bit is in your seat next to you. If you've not been with us for very long, or you've never filled it out, or today's your first day, Freddie, you don't have one. It's okay. You'll be okay. But in that little welcome packet there, there's something we call a Connect card. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, we're not going to harass you or show up at your house. We are going to send you a free gift in the mail. I think it's still coffee. Do we still send coffee?
Yeah.
Does anybody confirm that? I think it's Starbucks gift cards. So fill that out. You're going to get a Starbucks gift card in the mail. And we just want to connect with you and learn a little bit more about you and be able to share some stuff about ourselves. So
Cool.
You got something else?
I do. So we understand that you guys are probably going to be traveling, spending time with friends and family for Thanksgiving. The Sunday after Thanksgiving, being December 1st, which is also my birthday, might I add, we will only have one meeting time at 10:30. So we hope that you're there. But yeah, that's it. You guys enjoy the rest of the service.
So what about the challenge that things change over time? That
right.
You know, things get more elaborate, and Jesus goes from just being a wise teacher to
right.
a supernatural Son of God over a period of time.
Right. Well, you trust your Gospels? Oh, the earliest Gospel's Mark. You know that, right? The last Gospel is probably John. And you trust these things. Well, in Mark, there's no passion story. Jesus isn't hardly even described as divine at all in Mark. Oh, but by the time we get to John, 30 years later, oh, he's already God now. That's the kind of the accusation, right? That Jesus changes over time. And there's a guy we know, Bart Ehrman, out of North Carolina, who's written a lot of books on this. He just wrote a recent book, 2 books ago now, called How Jesus Became God. Because the Jesus of Nazareth, he would say, was very simple, and then over time he got distorted. They added the miracle accounts, they added the resurrection, they added the high Christology of Jesus, until finally you have the divine Christ of Christianity. I suspected that too, because I was a committed philosophical naturalist. I rejected miracles. So I thought those miracles cannot have been written early. Something was written early, but that stuff wasn't in there. That stuff had to be late. And so I just needed to know, was the miraculous nature of Jesus in the earliest accounts? So here's how we tested it. You know, if you have a crime scene and I find a casing in the crime scene, and then 30 years later I bring the casing to court and I say there's an extractor pin mark on the casing that identifies it to the suspect's gun, that's why I want you to convict this suspect, you could rightly ask, well, how do I know that that extractor pin mark was on the original? Someone could have pulled it out of property 15 years later, etched on the extractor pin mark, put it back in property, and now it's been altered. That's a fair accusation, I think. How do I know that that mark was on the original? Here's how I know. I go back and I ask the question, was there an officer there back in the day, 1980, who wrote a report, a supplemental report, where he described the extractor pin mark? Because if he did, I know it wasn't added later. And then he gave it to somebody. The next guy who takes that piece of evidence, he writes a report describing what he received from the first officer. And then the next officer does the same thing. And we do it through time to the crime lab, and from the crime lab all the way to the courtroom. And now I have report after report after report to see if anything's changed on the casing. Well, there's a new, this is, by the way, called the chain of custody. Link by link, we look and see who is each link, and is it changing? Do the same thing with the Gospels. Let's take a look at the Gospel of John. Was he really that divine in the beginning? Well, the first officer at the scene who wrote a report was a guy named John. He described what he saw in Jesus. But how do I know that he really wrote that? Well, who did he give it to? Who was the next link in the chain? 3 guys were his personal students, Ignatius, Polycarp, and Papias. Now, after John died, these three guys became leaders in the local church. If you didn't have John's gospel, you could just ask them, what did John say about Jesus? And they wrote local letters to local congregations. They're not in your Bible. They're ancient documents. We still have them. We can read them and see what did they say they learned from John. And they had a student named Irenaeus, and he had a student named Hippolytus. And you can go through the entire lesson of history and look at each link in the chain to see, is the story of Jesus becoming more extravagant? And here's what I discovered right away, is that if you start early, everything about Jesus you're stuck with. You may not like it, but it starts very early. And the very first people that John talks to will describe him as being divine, claimed to be God, rose from the dead as God, worked miracles as God, born of a virgin, died on a cross, rose from the grave, ascended into heaven, seated at the right hand of the Father. Every doctrine that we hold dear today is present immediately in the first story of Jesus. So you're stuck with this weird deal. You have people who are telling us something, and they never change their story. And we can document it all the way back to the life of Christ. What do we do with this? What do I do with this? That's where I found myself. I was stuck with the miraculous Jesus of Christianity. And every way I tried to kind of look at it and see, is it a lie? What's motivating him to lie? I tested it every way I could. I was stuck with it.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name's Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Stonebrook. I'm really glad that you decided to hang out with us this weekend. You are so welcome. If you're here for the very first time, service will be just a little bit different today. I'm not going to be able to be there. I had surgery this past Wednesday on my left bicep. I had tore a tendon there. And my wife and some other people suggested that maybe I should just sort of relax, take it easy this weekend, rest up. So I'm going to do that. So what we're going to do today, you just finished a short video by a man named Jim Wallace, who's a former atheist and a cold case detective. And in this upcoming video, it's going to be about 28 minutes long, he's going to discuss some of the things that led him to become interested in who Jesus is and eventually become convinced that the evidence led him to faith that God was real and that Jesus indeed rose from the dead, which is one of the sort of hard things to believe about Christianity. But so many people, one of the reasons they say that they can't believe in God is there's just simply not enough evidence. Some things he's going to say today will set up some future conversations that we'll have in some upcoming meetings and perhaps even an upcoming series. So I want you to just sit back and enjoy this today. And he's going to talk about a couple of books that he's written. And I would recommend both of these. One of them is Cold Case Christianity. The other one is God's Crime Scene. I highly recommend this for those of you that want to do some further study into what evidence is out there that could help me think through this concept of, is God real? Is Jesus who he says he is? Now, one more thing before we start the video. We are having an event this next Sunday. For those of you that volunteer here at Stonebrook, we call you the Dream Team. And we just want to say thank you. We're going to have an event with a catered meal that Vidi's out of Lebanon, who just does amazing, amazing food, is going to cater the event. We're going to have live music. We're going to have games. It's going to be a night of celebrating and laughter and friends and just reminding ourselves of some of the amazing things that God has done this year and looking forward to some of the things he's going to be doing next year. But basically, we just want to say thank you to the over 200 people who are on the Dream Team who week after week after week make Stonebrook happen. Make plans to be there. If you have to cancel something else, next Sunday night, 6 o'clock, your kids will be taken care of. They'll have activities and food as well. We want every single person on the Dream Team to be there. And this is your personal invitation from me. Please join us next Sunday night. So I hope you guys have a great time at church today. I think you're going to enjoy this video. And it's going to, like I said, sort of prime the pump. It may even cause more questions for you to answer, for you to ask, which is really, really great. And we'll talk about more about this in a future series and some future meetings. Thanks for being here, guys. Enjoy these videos.
Welcome to the Cold Case